So we are live, and welcome everyone. My dandavats to everyone, and on behalf of uh, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Seva Ashram Socal, Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharika Giridhari Ju in their service at the order of Srila Bhakti Pawan Janardhan Maharaj, and at the service of all the Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, friends, and well-wishers. So we're here, and we're going to discuss something today from Srimad Bhagavad Gītā. And as we go forward, we're going to discuss. But just as a little background, that for who's if anyone is joining in for the first time, that we are discussing Srimad Bhagavad Gītā. Nearly everyone is well aware of this divine conversation that took place historically in India over 5,000 years back between Sri Krishna and Sri Arjuna as they were facing off in battle. So the timeline is a little over 5,000 years. But when we look at Sri Gītā in chapter 4, then it's disclosed that this yoga that is disclosed in the entire Bhagavad Gītā is not new, and it has existed since before. And a little timeline, a hint about the timeline is given in that opening of the 4th chapter, where the Lord says, Imam vivasvate yogam proktvanaham abhyayam vivaswan manave praha and manur ikshvakave bravit. And by the help of scholars, it has been ascertained that if you follow that timeline which was given, so the Lord first gave it to Vivaswan gave it to Manu, and Manu gave it to Ikshvaku, and then it came down to the saintly kings, and through the Parampara system, this has been going on. So originally, before this 5,000 years, it was spoken a little over 120 million Earth years back. So that's kind of like the timeline that we have, and Bhagavad Gītā itself tells us its timeline. So a little bit about that, and we will begin with our Mangalacharan. So if everyone can join in, that would be awesome. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaisnavam Sacha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Pariyana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitam Sacha Bhaumakyanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jaina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Guru Abhishta Shapurakam Guru Ganarashish Sambhushitam Chinta Chinta Samasta Vedanipunam Shri Rupa Panthanugam Govinda Bhidam Ujjalam Vartanum Bhaktanvitam Sundaram Mande Vishwagurum Cha Divya Bhagavad Premro Hibij Pradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandravadanam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandranandapuram Sadeka Baranam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Shri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Varam Mandetam Shubhadam Madeka Saranam Nasisaram Sridharam Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Dividito Gauriya Gurvanvay Bhata Bhanuriva Prabhat Gagne Gaura Sankirtanay Mayavadati Mingilo Daragatan Udhritya Jivanima Krishna Prema Sudabdigahana Sukham Pradata Prabhum Tam Bhaje Namo Gaura Kishoraya Bhaktavadhuta Murtaye Gauranga Padma Bhrangaya Radha Bhavan Sevine Vande Bhakti Vinodam Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajam Radha Rasa Sudhanidim Gaura Vrajashita Sheshaira Vaishnavaira Vanda Vigraham Jagannatha Prabhum Vande Premadhyam Nidda Vaishnavam Mancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhaiva Cha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavtaram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Namo Mahavadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratushai Namo Hare Krishna. So the way that we have usually Bhagavad Gita is read is, and we have done it in the past, is that usually you read the shlokas and then you go through the word by word translation and then read the purport, any commentary and so forth. So just to change it up a little bit and so that we can dive in a little deeper and get some more perspective, we try and pick topics which may be relevant for our practice, our current practice, and given today's environment, they may be more relevant so that we can meditate and go deeper into the essence of what is being said, the message, and that ways, by the help of our teachers, we can get more out of what we may already have studied. So that is the humble endeavor, and with that we go, and instead of starting with a shloka, we'll start with the theme, and the theme of today is Cure Thyself. The Bhagavad Gita gives us this message, or this clear message, cure thyself. So if we just look at that message right at the outset, we know there's something wrong. There's a disease. Otherwise, why would we want to cure ourselves? So right from the outset, there's a problem. There's some disease that we're talking about. And secondly, there is a cure. And in order for the cure to work, we have to endeavor. So, in a nutshell, those are the attributes of the topic. And now I will try to look at what Param Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, is saying to some saintly seekers. Because usually, if you look at Upanishads, if you look at our traditions, this flow of revelation and of truth is always recorded between saints and sincere seekers, saints and saints, sincere seekers and sincere seekers, the Lord and saints, the Lord and sincere seekers, and so forth. So can you please keep it down? So that's why, following the same methodology and the same way that it has happened over the years, it's again the same way that there's a conversation going on, and someone's recording it, and then we are getting the nectar. So we are getting to it. So this conversation is happening between some saintly seekers and Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And It starts from this sort of a primer that goes, the purpose of pilgrimage is to hear from the saintly persons residing in a holy place. The following is a conversation with Srila Sridhar Maharaj and 3 European students searching India for truth. So that's the primer, and then now it gets into the actual conversation. Sridhar Maharaj, why have you come to India? Student, for pilgrimage. We came to visit the holy places like Navadip, Vrindavan, and Jagannath Puri. That was the main reason we came to India. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, how have you come to know all these things? By books? Student, yes, by the books of Srila Prabhupada. And when the student says Srila Prabhupada, he means Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who we lovingly call Swami Maharaj. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, what book? Student, Bhagavad Gītā. Sridhar Maharaj, oh, the Bhagavad Gītā as it is, by Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. Student, yes. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, many years ago, a German scholar expressed his opinion that Bhagavad Gītā is the highest spiritual literature. His point was that Bhagavad Gītā clearly advises us not to try to correct our environment, but to correct ourselves, to adjust with the environment. That is the key to the advice of Bhagavad Gītā. Cure thyself. We have no power to bring about changes in the environment. That is arranged by the divine will. Our environment, the sum total of all the forces acting outside us, is irremovable. We have no ability to interfere with our environment. That will only be a useless loss of energy. Rather, we must try to correct ourselves so that we can adjust with the circumstances outside us. This is the key to our success in life. Tatte nukampam susamikshamana. We have our duty to perform, but we must not aspire after the results of our activities. The results depend on Krishna. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. We make our contribution. At the same time, thousands of millions of others are contributing, creating the environment. So we must do our duty. But we will have to accept the ultimate result as best, because it is arranged by the Absolute. There are so many results to our individual activities, but we must see how the Absolute will harmonize everything and adjust ourselves accordingly. Our responsibility lies only in discharging our duty. We must never aspire after any definite environment. The environment will go on in its own way. We have no power to change it. Rather, we must try our best to change our own self so that we may come in harmony with the environment. Our responsibility is never in enjoying the results of our action, because we work for a particular result and don't obtain it. Should we be discouraged? No. we should go on doing our own duty. Whatever we contribute should be offered to the infinite, and the infinite will mold the results in his own way. Krishna says, never aspire after any particular result for your action. At the same time, don't be idle. Don't be worthless. Go on discharging your duty without depending on any outside consequence. Student, will we have to remember Krishna while we are doing this? Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Yes. Then we will be able to come in connection with Krishna. And gradually, we will come to realize that our environment is friendly to us. When the reactions of our previous actions disappear, we will find that every wave is carrying good news to us. When our egotistic attitude vanishes, we will find ourselves in the midst of sweet waves all around. We should try to do away with whatever wrong we have done hitherto. We must do our duty and never expect any definite result, but cast it towards the infinite. And I just want to take a little pause here and put that question. Does anyone know the verse that he's talking about, and can anyone say it? He said half of it. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफल हेतुर्भूर मा ते संगोस्त्व अकर्मणि. This is the verse. So the word-to-word translation we have read, but karmanya ev adhikar aste. We only have the right to our duty. Karmanya ev adhikar. Our adhikar or our jurisdiction only is restricted till doing our duty, proper discharge of our duty. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Not to the fruits. Ma karma phal heturbhu. Nor should we be desirous or work towards the fruits or for the fruits of our actions. Ma te sangostva akarmani. And we should not sit simply saying we're going to ignore everything and we're going to just sit here like a hermit and not do anything. No, we have to engage. So that's the word-to-word translation. But see how Param Guru Maharaj starts with the cure thyself, and then within that is the verse. Huh? So we go on. Any comments, please?
Charan Prabhu.
Yes.
I have a question. When Sri Maharaj is talking about that we are not to try to adjust the environment, we are to adjust ourselves to the environment. How does that come into play when there's certain things in our environment that we're looking to adjust, and we're doing some maybe political activity, social activity, environmental activity because we want the environment and other people to change around us. So how does that play? And then even just take on
Chinmay Prabhu,
turn on the AC.
could you repeat the last part, because we kind of lost you for a little bit.
Cut out. So just even on the simpler level, like if the environment in my room is hot, should I just adjust myself and tolerate that, or should I go on and turn the AC on? So what's the balance here between, like, yes, we want to improve our environment in some ways, but we also want to adjust to the environment?
That's a great question. So if when I look at the environment which I don't have any control over, it is more like me trying to change the seasons, not the AC. AC is something that is at my disposal. It's a little energy that I have, and I can go and I can, flip the switch and there will be cool air. But what I cannot change is the heat outside. So when I am looking at the environment, which is unchangeable, it is the seasons. The seasons are something which is a given. I will not be able to change. The summer's approaching, right? I'll not be able to change summer and turn it into winter. I don't have a switch like that. But yes, I do have an AC that can help me internally adjust to the season outside. So now, by keeping myself cool and keeping the area around me cool, I am adjusting to the environment. So the environment has dictated there's going to be summer in the northern hemisphere, and there's summer, and there is no way that me, you, and collectively 7 to 8 billion people all together can change any of that. But yes, we can adjust to it. Some of us can adjust to it by just altering what we're wearing. Some can, some are a little more, you can say, they like cold air and cooler environments more, so then they'll turn on the AC. But those are simple instruments and things at our disposal for us to be able to adjust to the environment. So when I say the environment and when we say the environment, that to me is the summer, winter, fall, spring kind of a scenario that I have no control over. But yes, I can change the little environment around me, of course. Just like when we say Ishwar, the word Ishwar, when we say Ishwar means what? Ishwar means, if you really look at what exactly it means rather than what it connotes, it really means any entity that has some control over a domain. And so in a way, I can exercise my Ishwaratva, so can you. Right? But at what level? At a really, really micro level. And so we adjust like that. Depending on what my domain is and what I consider my domain externally to my existence. And also really interesting is a fact that as we get in touch with more and more subtle planes of existence of our own self, then what we consider external, that definition also changes, don't you think? That definition also changes. Right now, my physicality is internal and everything else outside is external. But that may change tomorrow. Right? Indriyani parana hur indriye bhaya param mana manasasta para buddhe jo buddhe paratastasa. So as I'm getting in touch with more and more subtle and levels of my existence, then what I consider external also changes. It has to, cannot but be. So it's all dynamic. But in a nutshell, as we are right now, that's what is meant by not trying to change the environment, because it's a fool's errand. Does that make any sense?
Yes, Prabhu, definitely.
Prabhu, I have a follow-up question. And that is, so what you just said was nice. But if you extend it up and look at political activism, this movement, that movement, wanting to change Earth, versus us adjusting to the world. So I think it is a question of political activism is really driven by ego of leaders or people or collection of people, rather than as a service to the Lord. That, I think, is the difference between us going chanting Harinam at Golden Gate Bridge compared to shouting Green Paste movement in Golden Gate.
Very true, because at that, like you're saying, it depends on where my faith lies, or how much it has actually progressed or evolved in this entire, you could say, entire time span. How much it has evolved. So initially, people are just so self-centered and selfish that I would just need everything for myself, just to feed myself, my family, and so forth. Then consciousness expands a little bit. Then I become country conscious, flag conscious, political party conscious, right? That becomes something that is of prime importance in my consciousness, right? And then it may develop further, and then I may go into charity, like, oh no, everything for others, nothing for me. But if you see, even in all of these levels, there is provincial interest inbuilt. There is provincial interest of some sort. The ego is intact. And because of that, it will always be imperfect. That's all. There's nothing wrong. There are various levels that attract us. There are various levels that people function at. They voice their opinions and so forth. But those are all relative. When one comes to the point of doing absolute good, then we see that ego is not interfering. Why? Because now we have come in touch with the Supreme Center. Everything for Him. And then from Him, everything being adjusted. That is the ultimate. From where we are to that point, how much we have existed, or adjusted rather, not existed, how much we have adjusted, to what extent we have adjusted, we will find that some of these things, these external activities, these provincial interests will not attract us. We will lose interest for them as we develop and as our consciousness evolves. So that's how I would look at it. There's nothing right or wrong. It's all like a system of gradation, but the central point is everything for the center. We're all for the center, and then from the center we get our nourishment and existence. Without that center, really, what we're doing is all provincial. It's all based on that ego, and that ego, till such time that is intact, it will dictate that I am somehow at the center of all of this. Maybe country, martyrdom, um, higher cause, social interest, everything, I will be somehow connected. Why am I intact false ego to the center? So this next part, which Param Guru Maharaj talks about exactly, is dissolving ego, which is right here, dissolving ego, if you can read it. So we'll read that, if you permit. Chinmay Prabhu, should we go on?
Yes, please. Please.
Okay. So now, Param Guru Maharaj goes on now. And then one day will come when our egotistic feeling will dissolve, and from within, our real self, a member of the infinite world, will spring up and awaken. And we will find ourselves in the sweet waves of that environment. There, everything is sweet. The breeze is sweet, the water is sweet, the trees are sweet. Whatever we come in contact with is sweet, sweet, sweet. Our internal ego is our enemy. And to dissolve that ego, we must do our duty as we think fit, but never expect any response according to our will. If we adopt this Karma Yoga, then in no time we will find that the wrong ego, which was always expecting something crooked for its selfish purpose, has vanished. The broad, wide ego within has come out. And we are in harmony with the whole universe. The harmonious world will appear before us, and the cover of selfish desires will disappear. The cause of our disease is not outside us, but within us. Very important. Let me read this one more time for emphasis. The cause of our disease is not outside us, but within us. A Paramhans Vaishnav, a saint of the highest platform, sees that everything is all right. He finds nothing to complain about. When one can see that everything is good and sweet to the furthest extreme, he comes to live in the plane of divinity. Our false ego creates only disturbance, and that ego should be dissolved. We should not think that the environment is our enemy. We must try hard to detect God's grace in whatever comes to us, even if it comes as an apparent enemy. Everything is the grace of the Lord, but we cannot see it. Rather, we see the opposite. The dirt is in our eyes. Actually, everything is divine. It is all the grace of the Lord. The disease is in our eyes. We are diseased. And if the disease is cured, we shall find that we are in the midst of a gracious world. Only the coverings of desire deceive us from having a real estimation of the world. A bona fide student of the devotional school will accept such an attitude towards the environment and towards the Lord. We have to think that God's will is everywhere. Even a blade of grass cannot move without the sanction of the supreme authority. Every detail is detected and controlled by Him. We have to look upon the environment with optimism. So we have to be optimistic. The pessimism is within us. Our ego is responsible for all sorts of evil. This is Vaishnavism. If we can do this, then in no time our disease will be cured, and we'll be in the midst of infinite blissfulness. Our tendency at present is to cure what we see on the outside. We think, I want everything to follow my control, my sweet will. Then everything obeys me. Then I will be happy. When everything obeys me, then I will be happy. But we must take just the opposite attitude. As Mahaprabhu has said, Tranadapi sunichen taror iva sahishnuna amanina manaden kirtaniya sadahari. We should create no resistance against our environment. Still, if some undesirable things come towards us, we should tolerate that with our utmost patience. And even if someone attacks us, we don't become violent. We must practice forbearance to the extreme. We shall honor everyone. We will seek no honor. In this way, with the least amount of energy and time, we can attain the highest goal, the plane where Krishna himself is living. That is the most fundamental plane of existence. At that time, all the encasements covering the soul will vanish and die. And the inner soul will awaken and find that he is playing in a sweet wave, dancing and merrymaking in Vrindavan with Krishna and his devotees. And what is Vrindavan? It is neither a fable nor a concocted story. The broadest and widest plane of the whole universe is beauty, sweetness, and blissfulness, and that is present in Vrindavan in all its fullness. We have to dive deep into that plane of reality. Our ego has floated us on the surface of trouble in Maya, illusion, concoction, and the search for selfish satisfaction have taken us there, taken us here. And these must be dissolved once and for all. And then from within, our golden cells will come out. And we will find that we are in the plane of a happy dancing mood with Krishna in Vrindavan. This reminds me of the beautiful prayers in Brahma Samhita. They're describing Vrindavan, and they're describing Chintamani Prakarasadamsu Kalpa Vraksha Lakshavrateshu Surabhira Abhipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasambram Sevyamanam Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajam. Alola Chandra Kalasada Vanamallavam Shri Ratanangadam Pranaya Keli Kala Vilasam Shamam Tribhangalalitam Niyat Prakasham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajam, and so forth. So we go on. Hegel's self-determination. In Hegelian language, this is called self-determination. Self-determination means we must die to live. We must leave our material life and all our material habits. We have to die as we are if we want to have a real life. We must give up our false ego. Our material habits from different births are collected in the ego in subtle forms. Not only from the experience of human birth, but even from animal births, tree births, and so many other births. Krishna consciousness means the wholesale dissolution of the false ego. So, when he's saying wholesale dissolution, means that entire black box of all recollections and of all these different experiences is wholesale destroyed, dissolved. That concocted selfish figure within us is our enemy. The real self is hopelessly buried beneath the false ego. So great is the depth of our forgetfulness that we do not even know who we are. So, as the German philosopher Hegel said, we have to die to live. Reality is for itself and by itself. The world is not created for our selfish end. It has a universal end, and we are part and parcel of that. We must come to an understanding with the whole. The complete whole is Krishna, and He is dancing, playing, and singing in His own way. We must enter into that harmonious dance. Being infinitesimal, should we think that the infinite must be controlled by us? That by our whim everything will go on? This is the most crooked, heinous object ever conceived. And we are suffering from such a disease. This is the real problem in society. Our inquiry should be aimed at solving this. Student, does this mean we have to give up material life completely? Srila Sridhar Maharaj, not at once. Everyone must progress gradually, according to his own particular case. If one who has much affinity towards worldly life suddenly leaves that, he may not keep up his vows. He may go down again. So, according to personal capacity, we must make gradual progress. That is to be taken into consideration. But still, we should always be eager to give up everything and devote ourselves exclusively to the highest duty. Those who have enough courage will jump into the unknown, thinking, Krishna will protect me. I am jumping in the name of God. He is everywhere. He will take me on His lap. With this idea, one who has a real eagerness for the truth may leap forward. Student, I have a problem. For 10 years I have tried to take up this process. For 10 years I have kept from eating meat, fish and eggs. I avoid material things. I have no attraction for them. I have left all this behind. But there is one thing I want to give up, and also I don't want to give up. This is ganja. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, that is a small thing. There are 3 real difficulties. The first is women. The second is money. And the third, good name and fame. These 3 are our enemies. Marijuana intoxication is a small thing. Anyone can give it up easily. But these three things are the fundamental aspiration of every animal, tree, bird, man, or God. These three are everywhere, but intoxication and other fleeting habits are very negligible things and can be conquered very easily. As we have gradually come into the habit of intoxication, we have to come out gradually and not suddenly. Just after World War II, we read in the newspaper that Hitler's air general was habituated to taking much intoxication. I don't know how to say his name. It's spelled as Goering.
Ben Goering.
Goering, okay. Ben Goering. But when he was put into jail, no intoxication was supplied to him. He became sick, but treatment went on, and he was cured. His disease was cured by the medicine. We also have seen so many opium eaters who came here, joined the temple, and gradually left their habit. Many so-called sadhus smoke marijuana. It helps concentration. But that is the material mind. It disturbs faith. It is an enemy to faith. No material intoxication, but only faith can take us to our desired goal. The misguided souls think that marijuana, hashish, and so many other things can help us in our meditation. It may do something, but that is mundane and that will frustrate us in our time of need. These things cannot help us rise up very high. Srimad Bhagavatam advises that these 5 things should be rejected. Dyutam, gambling or diplomacy. Panam, intoxication. Striya, unlawful, illegal woman love. Suna, butchering, and the transaction of gold. Trade in gold makes one very apathetic towards progress in the line of faith. These 5 are very tempting. What to speak of the mania that intoxication will help us in our meditation upon the transcendental. Devarshi Narad says, Yamadivir yog pathay kamalo hatau muhu. Even what we acquire by meditation is temporary and has no permanent effect. Only real faith in the line of pure devotion can help us. Student, so how can we develop our faith in Krishna consciousness? Srila Sridhar Maharaj, how have you come to conceive of Krishna consciousness? Student, by reading Bhagavad Gītā. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Bhagavad Gītā from the scriptures. And the scriptures are written by whom? Some saint. So the association of saints and the advice of scriptures are both necessary. The saint is the living scripture, and the scripture advises us in a passive way. A saint can actively approach us, and passively we may receive benefit from the scriptures. The association of the scriptures and the saints can help us achieve the ultimate realization. Sadhu Shastra Kripayahaya. The saints are more powerful. Those who are living the life of the scriptural advice are scripture personified. In their association and by their grace, we can imbibe such higher subtle knowledge and faith. All our experiences are futile in the attempt to attain the ultimate destination. Only faith can lead us there. The spiritual world is far, far beyond the jurisdiction of our limited visual, oral, and mental experience. The experience of the eye, ear, and mind is very meager and limited. But faith can rise up and pierce through this area and enter the transcendental realm. Faith should be developed with the help of scriptures and saints. They will help us understand that the spiritual world is real and this world is unreal. At that time, this material world will be night to us, and that will be day. Do you remember which verse this is? Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami. Presently, the eternal world is darkness to us, and we are awake in this mortal world. What is night to one is day to another. A saint is awake in some matter, and a dacoit thief is working in another plane. They are living in two separate worlds. A scientist is living in one world, a rowdy is living in another. One's day is night to another. The ordinary persons cannot see what Einstein and Newton have seen, and what the ordinary man sees is ignored by the great man. So we have to awaken our interest in that plane and ignore the interests of this plane. So now we come to a question that one of the students is asking. About imminent danger and threat to the world, to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. So this is very interesting. Student, many people are worried about nuclear war. They think it may come very soon. So destruction of the world is imminent. What do we do? What is to be done? Sridhar Maharaj. That is a point on a line on a plane in a solid. So many times wars are coming and going. So many times the sun, the earth, and the solar systems disappear and again spring up. We are in the midst of such thought in eternity. This nuclear war is a tiny point. What of that? Individuals are dying at every moment. The earth will die, the whole human section will disappear. Let it be. We must try to live in eternity, not any particular span of time or space. We must prepare ourselves for our eternal benefit, not for any temporary remedy. The sun, the moon, and all the planets appear and vanish. They die. And then again, they are created. Within such an eternity, we have to live. Religion covers that aspect of our existence. We are told to view things from this standpoint, not only this body, but the human race, the animals, the trees, the entire earth, and even the sun will all vanish and again spring up. Creation, dissolution, creation, dissolution. It will continue forever in the domain of misconception. So this is a domain of misconception, and this creation and dissolution and the problems therein are going to continue. At the same time, there is another world which is eternal. We are requested to enter there, to make our home in that plane which neither enters into the jaws of death nor suffers any change. In the Bhagavad Gītā, chapter 8, verse 16, it is stated, A Brahma Bhuvanala Loka Punaravartino Arjuna Mam Upeti Tu Konte Punarjanna Vidyate. Even Lord Brahma, the Creator himself, has to die. Up to Brahmalok, the highest planet in the material world, the whole material energy undergoes such changes. But if we can cross the area of misunderstanding and enter the plane of proper understanding, then there is no creation or dissolution. That is eternal, and we are children of that soil. Our bodies and minds are children of this soil which comes and goes, which is created, then dies. We have to get out of this world of death. So our bodies and minds are children of this soil, not us. We are in such an area. What is to be done? Try to get out. Try your best to get out of this mortal area. The saints inform us. Come home, dear friend. Let us go home. Why are you suffering so much trouble unnecessarily in a foreign land? The spiritual world is real. This material world is unreal. Springing and vanishing, coming and going. It is a farce. From the world of a farce, we must come to reality. Here in this material world, there will be not only one war, but wars after wars. Wars after wars. There is a zone of nectar, and we are actually children of that nectar that does not die. Shanavantu Vishwe Amritasya Putra. Somehow we are misguided here, but really we are children of that soil which is eternal, where there is no birth or death. With a wide and broad heart, we have to approach there. This is declared by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Bhagavad Gītā, the Upanishads, and the Srimad Bhagavatam all confirm the same thing. That is our very sweet, sweet home, and we must try our best to go back to God, back to home, and take others with us. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Any comments, reactions, reflections? Anyone?
Everything is beautiful, Prabhu. What can we say and add? Listening to Guru Maharaj, Gurudev.
Chinmoy Prabhu?
Well, it is very nice that Srila Maharaj says that it is a gradual process, because some of the things previously that he said about accepting everything as the grace of the Lord was ever coming to us, sometimes that can be very hard to accept, that what's coming to us is for our own benefit.
Right.
So it's a gradual process to achieve that type of conception.
Yes. Gradually. So we begin from where we are. We don't try to overly change our circumstances. Sthane sthita shrutigatam. So sthane sthita means you stay in your situation, in your place, and then try to cultivate. So very wonderful. And so like always, we try to, there are so many things to learn and so many things that we have gathered. So I'm going to leave you with, before we get to Hariharai, I'm going to leave you with one sort of kind of it's a takeaway for today. And what we discussed. So it's coming up. I'm trying to see how I can put that up here on the screen. Share content, screen, photo. Is it right? Is that photo? Let's see here. Okay, can you see?
On Facebook, I can see that. Yeah.
You can see. You cannot see it here.
We can see it here also. Yeah.
Okay. So. That's what we have. That cure thyself. We are not to try to correct the environment, but to adjust with the environment. And now we have Nanda Kishore Prabhu and Lavanya Sundari. They're gonna help us with the Hariharai.
While they're singing, can you play the kartals?
Yes, I will play the kartals. Can you pick this up? Just snake it. Just make sure it goes. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah, just go ahead. Switch it on. Good. Kartal. Sit down. Just hurry up.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Guru Bhakta-vrinda.
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah
Gopal Govindaram Shri Madhusudan
Gopal Govindaram Shri Madhusudan
Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohan चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैताचार्य
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita
गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा
Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gauravata
रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ
Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha
श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ
Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha
इच्छाय गोसाई गौरी चरण वंदन
Ichai Gosai Puri Charana Bandhan
जहाँ होते विज्ञान शाविष्ट पुराण
Naha Hute Vignana Savishapura
इच्छाय गोसाई जार मुई तारादास
Ichai Gosai Janita Rada
तांसवर पद रेणु मोर पंचग्रास
Tansavara Padarino Mora Panchaga
कांडेर चरण से विभक्त सनेवा
Andera Charana Sivi Bhakta Saneva
जन्म जन्म मोरा विलास
Janname Janame Morariya Vila
इच्छाय गोसाई जबे ब्रज कोइला बास
Ichai Gosai Jabe Brajja Goilava
श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण नित्य लीला कोरिला प्रकाश
Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash
आनंद बोलो हरि भज वृंदावन
Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan
श्री गुरु वैष्णव परे मजई अमान
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman
श्री गुरु वैष्णव पद पद्म कोलिया
Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Kuriya
हरि नाम संकीर्तन को है नरोत्तम दास
Hari Nama Sankirtana Kohe Narottama Das
हरि हराय नमः कृष्णाय यादवाय नमः
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama
यादवाय माधवाय केशवाय नमः
Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Nama
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
जय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव
Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev
जय गौरंगा सुंदर जय गौरंगा सुंदर जय गौरंगा सुंदर जय गौरंगा सुंदर
Jai Gauranga Sundara Jai Gauranga Jai Gauranga Sundar. Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhansa Parayadacharya Varya Stotra Sata Shri Srimad Shila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Shila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagwan Shila Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Sa Parshad Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Jairam Prabhu ki jai.
Arun Krishna Prabhu Ki Jai. Chinmay Prabhu Ki Jai. Abba Didi Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. So give me 1 second, let me close the broadcast and then I will come back here for lyrics. Hold on.